Hey, remember when we went to Lizzie Borden House and then Maplecroft and went up the cemeteries and we saw the plots, the grave sites?
Yeah, I dug it.
Welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels with your hosts, Sean and Marianne Donnie.
Well, hello, Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
These jokes in the beginning, they're horrible. I apologize.
It's true, but I do love cemeteries, and I did love going to see this particular cemetery. And you know, I did dig a graveyard before.
All right.
It does work.
Today we are talking about Oak Grove Cemetery.
Yes.
We were there November 14th of 2015.
Correct.
And this was part of our trip when we went to the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast and saw Maplecroft, and we made our way up to see the graves.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, this is Panic D number 1914, and it is the Oak Grove Cemetery. It's located at 765 Prospect Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. And, of course, it is open to the public. It is a cemetery, a public cemetery.
Yeah, most cemeteries are open to the public. There are some that are, just small family plots or very old that no one is still alive remaining. But not remaining alive in the cemetery, but you know what I mean. Family members.
Before we go any further and ruin this video, let's show you another video of the history of the cemetery, and you're going to talk a little bit about that, about the Borden graves, towards the end.
Okay.
So watch this, and we will be right back.
Today, Oak Grove Cemetery boasts over 130 acres and has over 65,000 internments. It was originally laid out as a 47-acre garden cemetery back in 1855 by city architect Josiah Brown. By the way, a garden cemetery is a style of burial ground that uses carefully planned out planting and landscaping in a park-like setting with rolling hills and pathways where the living could commune with nature, take a walk, and reflect. The original 47 acres of land that started the cemetery was purchased by the city for $200 an acre from Dr. Nathan Durfee, with the agreement that he would purchase a parcel of land that the city had purchased to use as a park. The initial construction expense report identifies costs of $4,679.81 in 1856. So which grave in the cemetery is the oldest? Well, that's anyone's guess. It's believed that the graves that contain the oldest remains are from the late 1700s. I know what you're thinking. Those are too old if this cemetery opened in 1845. Well, when the cemetery was opened in 1845, the graves of some of the prominent citizens of Fall River were disinterred from their former graves in the Old City Cemetery, Old North Cemetery, and moved to the new Oak Grove Cemetery. The most visited grave sites in the cemetery today are those of Andrew Borden and his family, who are all buried together, Lizzie right at his feet. The largest of the monuments in the cemetery belong to the Bordens too, but not Andrew and not Lizzie. This goes to some of the richer Bordens from up on the hill, Jefferson and Richard Borden. Their monuments are large obelisks. Other notable interments that are related to the Bordens at the cemetery are, of course, Adelaide Churchill, the 2nd Street neighbor of the Bordens, Charles Cook, Lizzie's executor, William Almy, Andrew's business partner, Reverend Buck, who attended Lizzie on the day of the murders and also throughout the trial. Marshal Rufus Hilliard, who received the first reports of the Borden murders at the police station. Andrew Jennings, of course, he was the Borden family lawyer and one of Lizzie's defense attorneys. Josiah Blaisdell, he presided over the inquest proceedings for Lizzie's trial. James Winward, he was the undertaker who prepared the bodies of Andrew and Abby. Southard Miller, who built Borden's 2nd Street home. Lodwick and Eliza Darling Borden and family, remember that was great Uncle Ladwig to Lizzie, and his wife killed their children. Marshall Fleet and Sheriff Wixton were also buried there. They investigated the Borden murders. And Charles Allen, who sold Lizzie Maplecroft. The most prominent feature of the cemetery is its cemetery gate. It's a large Gothic arch made of granite, which was built in 1873 and has "the shadows have fallen and they wait for the day" etched across it. It was crafted by master carver Alexander Lawson. It has a large center opening and smaller access portals on either side. The arch has an iron center gate that is 15 feet high and 8 feet wide. In the 1890s, the arch is shown in pictures as being covered with ivy, but by early 1900s, photos show that all of the ivy was gone. For 6 months between 2017 and 2018, restorations were made to both the gates and the granite arch in efforts to restore it from water and vegetation damage. The project cost was $283,630. The granite was worked on and sealed by East Coast Masonry. The iron gates were removed and shipped to DeAngelis Iron for repairs. During this restoration, the words J.K. Best was found carved into one of the center gates. It is thought that this may have been the ironworker who originally crafted them. There are plans to restore the office and storage buildings as well. These are to the left and right of the arch gates. The building to the right of the arch gate today houses the offices and cemetery records for both Oak Grove Cemetery and the Old North Cemetery. The building to the left, now this is the special one. It's the break room for the groundskeepers today. And it's the former 2-roomed ladies' comfort station with leaded glass lancet windows. Now that may not sound too special, but this is where Andrew and Abby had their second autopsies. During these autopsies, unbeknownst to Emma and Lizzie, under the supervision of Dr. Dolan, the medical examiner, the heads of Andrew and Abby were removed. That's right, the Bordens had been partially autopsied at their home on the day of their murders, but on August 11th, a full week after their deaths, a second autopsy was performed, right there in the ladies' comfort station. This was a full autopsy where wounds were identified, counted, measured, and yes, their heads were removed. Their heads were removed upon the instruction of District Attorney Hosea Knowlton, and they were taken home by Dr. Dolan, where they were boiled of their flesh on his kitchen stove, right in his wife's cooking pots. And he maintained them in his home until he presented them in court. There were also 2 holding tombs, which would hold the bodies of the deceased until the ground could be dug and prepared for the burials, usually when the ground was frozen in the wintertime. The one that held the Bordens until the 11th, when their autopsies were performed, can be found by looking to the right of the office and then in the southerly direction. It is granite framed and sits into the hillside. Inside, you will find shelves that hold 6 coffins. In 1984, the first crematory plots in the city were laid out in Oak Grove Cemetery. Chain link fencing from the perimeter was replaced, and 2 of the 3 greenhouses were refurbished and prepared for growing annuals again, which could be used to decorate the veterans' graves. Restoration costs for the greenhouses alone were about $10,000. Unfortunately, not all of the restorations have come from needs created by natural events and, of course, just simple time of disuse due to budget costs. The cemetery has also been victim of quite a bit of vandalism through the years. In 1977, at the rear entry to the cemetery, a stolen car was rammed into the iron gate and the concrete supports. The car was then abandoned. Other vandalization in the cemetery has been things like the storage shed. It was set on fire. Gravestones were toppled over and even spray painted. Over 200 feet of fencing around the perimeter was cut through in 1982. This was blamed on teenagers who were using it as a shortcut to get from place to place. And in April of 2015, a vandal spray painted green and black scrawls across the gravesite of the Lizzie Borden family plot. The graffiti had to be power washed away. Hopefully, the cemetery is free of vandals in the future, so that all of the dead residing there can rest in peace.
Okay, so yeah, very interesting stuff with the second autopsy.
Yes. Yeah, there's the second autopsy happened right here in Oak Grove Cemetery.
Yeah.
Who thinks about autopsies being performed at the cemetery? Even today, if they go and exhume a body, they take it back to a facility. You don't do the autopsy right there.
Well, think about it, though. Okay, think about this. I understand the circumstance. First of all, the people that were in the house were suspected. Okay? The wake and part of the funeral took place in the house.
And the first autopsy.
And the first autopsy, yes. So, the second one was done kind of under secrecy.
Kinda? It was so under secrecy.
Yeah.
They didn't even let the girls know.
Well, they were suspect.
Well, not both of them.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay.
I get it.
I could see how it went down.
Yeah.
You know.
And where else to do a secret autopsy but someplace that you wouldn't expect to have one?
Exactly. Exactly. They couldn't do it in the house. Right?
No, they would have been seen again.
Right. All right. So anyways, personal experiences. There.
It was cold.
It was brrr cold. The only thing that kind of like kept us warm while we're out there
was the
doing
excitement
what we doing was the adrenaline
and knowledge that we were there at the Borden grave.
Yeah. We have another video that we put out earlier this week, the paranormal claims, the ghost stories and folklore. I'll put a link to that right here. Ding! But there's also another video, and actually it's linked off of Ghost Stories and Folklore, but I'm going to put another link to that video that we put out way when we started working our channel. You know, it was like one of the early videos where we kind of didn't find our vibe yet, you know what I mean? And it was like we had some footage and like how we're going to make a video, that type of thing. In the beginning of it, it's just rolling text with creepy music. But, you know, if that kind of like you get boring, skip ahead and you actually see some video footage of when we were there. And the wind's whipping and, you know, that kind of stuff. But I'll put a link to that right here before I forget. Ding! But one of the things that we did do was we took a picture, which was kind of cool. And that was in the Ghost Stories and Folklore, but I just want to point that out, and I'm going to show you that again. That shadow of us that was cast across it, I was on Andrew's side, and you were on Abby's side. So it's kind of like a symbolism type thing, you know, a little cinematic type stuff. It was kind of cool. It's kind of cool. We have other pictures that are like that, too. Like, you know, from the beach and stuff, and it's our shadows.
I kind of try to do that like once a year.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
You can see my shadows, like Marianne's like this. But, yeah, that was kind of cool. But the actual place where they did the second autopsy, that picture was in Ghost Stories and Folklore too, but you guys probably didn't even know about the second autopsy. I'm going to show that picture again. This is actually where that took place, in that building right here. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
And then they buried them. They proceeded with the funeral headless.
Well, the funeral was done.
Okay, she's going to correct me. They did the funeral and they put them in a receiving vault.
Right.
Okay. But they did bury the bodies without the heads because they took the heads and sent them off to have them analyzed.
Yeah, when they actually, put them in the ground, they put them in the ground headless.
Yes.
Yeah. And it took quite some time to get their heads back.
Which leads to my question, why do you think this place has reported paranormal claims?
Well, you sort of laid piece of it out there. There's people buried there without their body parts attached together.
Yeah. They later brought the heads back and put them in. And who knows if they put them in the right spot, the right grave. I mean, no, this is...
Yeah.
They just
I'm sure
probably
that,
dug
I'm
a
sure
hole,
they,
threw them in there. And
yeah, I'm sure they put them at the right grave site.
if they put them back.
If they put them back.
Can you imagine if they surface now?
There was actually something a few years back that I remember reading where they were trying to do some ground penetration thing to see if they actually did put them on top of the graves, like
Really?
they said. Yeah, they're supposed to be 3 feet down from the surface on top of the bodies, but there was some reports that maybe that didn't happen. But
Interesting.
that's why they were doing some of that testing, but from everything they say, it's that they're there.
I'd be surprised if this place isn't haunted, actually. Personal experiences, like you said, it was cold. It's a cemetery. Every time I go to a cemetery, I always get that feeling I'm being watched. And there was nobody there when we were there. So it was like around, maybe a little bit after lunch or around lunchtime. It was before
Around
noon.
there. Yeah, it was before noon.
Yeah, nobody was there, but I kept looking around because I thought somebody was there. I get that feeling in cemeteries all the time. But other than that, with it being windy, we really couldn't hear anything or do any recordings or anything like that would be
Usable.
Yeah.
We tried.
Oh, of course. But, we didn't do like an EVP thing or anything because it was just too windy.
We tried.
Yeah, they didn't come out.
Not for lack of trying.
Yeah, and it was cold. I remember it was cold. Yeah. I think that was before we had the Ovilus.
Yeah, I don't think we had the Ovilus.
Because it would have been cold. We parked right next to it. It would have been cool to sit in the car and turn the Ovilus on or a spirit box or something. See if we heard anything. That would have been, But, hey, if we go back.
Oh, you mean when we go back?
When we go back. Yeah.
Because we're going back.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you would like to add to this?
Yeah, I just like this cemetery in particular, not just because the Bordens are there, but they really do a really nice job of helping you find your way to the Bordens. They have like a whole thing laid out. You just follow the path to the Borden site, and I think that's really nice because, they do get a lot of visitors that go just to see Lizzie's grave and the Borden and Andrew and Abby's graves. They don't want to disturb everybody else.
Yeah, they don't want
so it's
people
really
traiping
nice that you don't have to traipse around the cemetery looking for it to try to find it. They kind of show you right where it's at.
Yeah,
and I think that's
mark it
really
off.
cool.
Yeah. We ran into that when we went looking for Lucille Ball's gravesite too, where they had signs.
Yeah, they had signs. This is a painting.
Yeah, they painted the street.
They literally paint the pavement, the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we don't have pictures of, but
We didn't take pictures of that?
I don't think we have pictures of that. I didn't see them recently when I was going through the pictures, but I remember that.
Next
now that you
time.
brought it up. Next time.
Next time.
Yeah. All right. Hey, folks. Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting.
Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting!